I
We,
know, I know what you're talking about.
when I was a kid, I used to live up by Holly, and that's the sister city for Leamington. And so we went over there one year as a girls group, and we did the tomato stomps together, and it was super fun. I could not believe the smell of the tomatoes. It's not like ketchup at all. It was super fun. It was a really good time.
Yeah, well, ketchup is better when you have some dirt thrown into it.
Okay,
Organic,
Lynn,
organic dirt.
I'm not
Mhm.
gonna
All
wait.
right.
I'm not gonna wait much longer.
One of our only really official things is ringing of the bell. So to start the meeting this morning.
There we
Okay.
go. The
There we
meeting is now in order.
Okay, I see I can share my screen.
Yep,
Phil.
I just turned that on, so you're okay to go. Anytime you want to start sharing, you can, or you can talk for a while and then share. Entirely up to you.
Well, I'll just start out again with just a brief introduction. My name's Walt Gajewski. I am the general manager for the City of Farmington Farmers Market. It's a big title, but I'm really a staff of one, as many market managers are in their community. Although we do rely on volunteers extensively, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I've been a Farmington resident for so I've been here since September of 1992, having come to Plymouth or Farmington by way of Plymouth, Michigan, a neighboring town that had a farmer's market, and I rented a home there just down the street, and just loved the experience. And when I came to Farmington, we really had nothing of that sort. You know, I did notice one day as I was driving down the road as a newcomer, I saw a couple trucks in a parking lot, and farmers were selling right off the back of the trucks, and became curious about what that was. And it wasn't a formal market, but the city, actually the downtown development director at that time, had reached out to a couple of local farms and asked if they might set up, and they did. And it wasn't managed at all. It was very informal. And again, it was just selling right off the back of the truck. I took an interest in that. And then from there began volunteering, and then from there became a member of the Downtown Development Board of Directors, and then helped lead some visioning studies in the community as to where the community might be in the future. And in one of the proposals that I put forth was to have a permanent home for the farmers market, which it now enjoys, in the center of the downtown, with its own community pavilion, which hosts the farmers market 6 months out of the year. But it also now is home to an ice rink in the wintertime, and concerts in the summer when we're able to enjoy those kinds of gatherings.
Yeah.
So it's become a community focal point, and the farmers market in many ways is an anchor for that, because it's open to all people, all races, all ages, and it is free, and it's a common denominator, you know, as much as you see what's going on with people on different sides of various issues these days, as this probably never changed or never will. But one thing I think we all agree on is good food, and yeah. So people come together with smiles on their faces, and I'll tell you, we open the farmers market every year with a little tradition. Opening day either coincides with or is very near Armed Services Day. So we work with the local American Legion to bring in a color guard, and where the high school drum line comes out, and we rustle someone up to sing the national anthem. And the mayor does a little welcoming speech, and some of our sponsors come out, like as in the form of, and here is the Beaumont Health System is very prominent, and they participate in the market with a lot of programs, health screenings, that kind of thing. So our community stakeholders, our institutions, if you will, come together on that day, and it's heartwarming to see the veterans out, and people with their hands over their hearts, and saying the national anthem, standing shoulder to shoulder with these American dirt farmers, And it's quite emotional actually, but it all adds up to what one of our slogans says at best, is that we like to say, come experience Saturday life in a Michigan small town. And then really that's what it's all about, because though I am the staff of one, I do rely on a lot of organizations and stakeholders to come together
Cool.
to make the market happen.
Excellent.
So with having said that, and just to back up just 1 second, yeah, I was an engineer for a long time. I worked in actually a racing division for Chrysler, and we put out a lot of high-profile vehicles. One you may know is the Dodge Viper.
Oh yeah.
Very fancy sports car, very high price, but cars are very difficult to produce. A lot, it takes many years, a lot of planning, a lot of detail goes into it, and I have been able to rely on many years of experience as a project manager to help shepherd the farmers market. So some of my old skills come in handy, and it allows me to keep my head sharp too, as well, because it's a challenge when you have so many hats to wear, and I'll share some of those things here in a minute. So let's do the screen share and see if I can pull up
Yep.
a couple of things here.
Yep. Go give it a go.
Let's give it a go. Okay. So let's do the screen share here. Share the screen. Okay. And I'm going to pick this one to share.
Here it comes.
And there we go. Let's go from the start here. Use slideshow. Okay, everybody sees what I see?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do.
Okay. So this is a presentation that I recently gave to our city council following the end of a very very different year, for all of us in all our endeavors in life.
Understated.
Yeah, totally. And so I picked a little bit of an opening here from a blues song that I came across that says, "We're all in this together. It's so easy to see. And if we want to see tomorrow, that's just the way it's got to be. When it's all said and done, it's up to you and me." So
So true.
yes, and we have a logo for the market, as you see. We have actually, I'm a logo guy, so we have several different logos that we play around with. Last year, we chose to focus our message, which is, we're here to keep you healthy. And that's a theme that we're going to carry on into this season. I've been advised by the Department of Agriculture that we are to open the market this year with the same protocols that we put in place last year, which was for safe shopping experience. And the image you see here is actually from a World War II victory garden. And back then, people had to make sacrifices, because of shortages that were going on at that time. And everyone had to contribute in their own way. And one way was for people to grow their own produce.
Right.
So, we kind of chose that image as a way of people coming together, if you will, kind of uniting, all of us doing our part. So you'll see this if you come to our market. You'll see this very same sort of message again, which we spread across social media, our website, posters, banners, flyers, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So in order to be able to serve the community as we do and be impactful, that's something we rely on our farmers, most for, and that note, it's important to recognize how important Michigan is to our success, our farm country, as well how important Michigan farming is to the country as a whole. Michigan is the second most agriculturally diverse state, in the country, second only to. Anybody have an idea who would be even more diverse in agriculture than Michigan? One other state? That would be California.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to guess California.
Yeah, it is. Michigan, though, is number one in asparagus and squash, number two in cucumbers. It ranks high in other commodities, cherries, sweet corn, blueberries, pumpkins, and in the top 10 for many others. Overall, the state of Michigan, even though right now we're in the middle of winter, we've got 300 agricultural commodities, in the works and on the way. And just as we talked about in Ontario with greenhouses, greenhouses are growing in popularity here. They're quite expensive. A true greenhouse is going to have the heat source. An alternative to that is called a hoop house, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Or some call them high tunnels or hot houses. And those are becoming popular, and the state has programs in place to help farmers, with grants for, building these greenhouses. In fact, one of our farmers contacted me not long ago, asking me if I could help them, just with with some elbow grease, to come and help assemble some of these hoop houses, because they're quite large, and there's a lot of plastic to stretch across the framing of it. And that's the sort of work that goes on, in the wintertime and early spring. So, given that, we're trying to, produce as much as we can throughout the year, farming in Michigan now is just close to a quarter of the workforce, employs nearly 1 million people, and astonishingly contributes over $100 billion to the state's economy. That's an amazing number when
Sure is.
Yeah, when we know Detroit as being the Motor City, capital of the world. But farming is very important and precious to our livelihood here. And I think probably now more so than ever are people staying in with the COVID. They're more local. I think they feel more comfortable in their own backyards, and they're discovering local food sources. And it's exciting, and it's refreshing. And we'll talk about how we experienced that last year. Another slogan that we have is real food, real farms. And you can see, here we are in our little corner of the state, and all these little sunflower dots represent all of the farms that come to Farmington, Michigan. So, and this is just our farmer segment. It doesn't include value-added products like jams and jellies and breads and honeys and syrups and
Right.
things like that. But overall, and as we get into the peak season, if you were to come to Farmington in July, when we are, at the start of the summer harvest, you will see upwards of about 15 or so farmer growers in downtown Farmington, and it is farms that make farmers markets successful. It's not easy to get farmers to come to a market. It's a lot of the chicken and the egg kind of thing. The farmers like to come if the people will be there, and the people will come if the farmers are there. So
Right.
how do you start these kinds of things, right? So Farmington, opened in 1993, and it started with those few trucks, as I mentioned. And over time, as we moved into the center of town with the pavilion, we were able to attract more people who like to come out on the Saturday, and we added entertainment and we added vendors, and from there we're able to add more growers, and then differentiate with organic produce. And then we added meat, and we added fresh catch lake fish. You can see way up here in the UP, out of Hessel, Michigan, we bring in fresh catch lake fish out of the water 24 hours, brought down to the market for our community. So we've really expanded in our product offering, and commensurately so, having had this kind of variety to offer. It does a couple things. Number one, it brings a lot of people, because people like to have their own choices, and people choose their favorite farmers. They establish relationships. They talk to the farmers. They find out how farmers cook and prepare their own food and share recipes. But what this does, importantly for me, is it allows us to ensure that with all these farms, no matter what Mother Nature may cook up for us, we're going to guarantee that we're going to have a good portion of those 300 agricultural commodities coming to market. You know, some farms are underwater early and they struggle, but when you have farms that here are as much of 120 miles or more apart from each other, you can bet we're going to find green beans from somewhere, right? Or lettuce or early tomatoes. And it just goes on and on that way. So we're well covered with produce, and the farmers are actually grateful for each other, because if you don't have the product, it's hard to serve your customers. So if one farmer is enjoying an abundance that brings people to market, it helps while the other farmers are catching up, if you will, because coming to market becomes quite a weekly, becomes a habit for a lot of people here. And so with that, knowing that we do have a lot of people to care for, and the expectations are high. I always like to each year, and these presentations are good for me because it allows me to go back and just reacquaint myself with our mission. And as you know, in any good organization, be it the Rotary or to public companies, they all have a mission to serve in some capacity. And ours, we have, I wrote this some years ago, and it's kind of all encompassing. I won't read through all of it, but the areas that I highlighted for city council, I italicized that were important to us during COVID was to enhance the downtown area with access to a wide variety of fresh local produce, getting food access, food being essential in an open air setting. Really, I think brought a lot of a focus to people to want to have access to that. No offense to our local Kroger stores or Myers or Walmarts. They do provide a lot, but it's an indoor experience, and I think with the pandemic, people felt comfortable being outdoors. We don't have tall aisles, that go 8 feet in the air, stacked with goods, where you're pushing a cart and you don't know who's coming out of the other aisle. Ours is, you have very much a 360-degree view, so you can come in and see where you want to go.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think people generally felt safer, and being out in the open air as well, I think made people feel comfortable. In so doing, by offering this public market, and with so much being shut down in our communities, the weekly Friday concerts went away, and the art fair went away, and children, baseball programs went away for last year. The people were looking for a place to go, and Farmington became a destination for people to come on the weekends, and that helped our shop owners too quite a bit.
Sure.
So, and then and our outreach again is we want to make known that we do we are inclusive. We're open to people of all ages and races, and I've seen the changes, actually over the years. It's and you can see it not only in the faces of the people, but even the product that comes to the market now. And our farmers are speaking with our customers for the type of food that they would like to see on their table. So, we have a lot of Asian produce now because there's a large Asian community in Farmington Hills and Novi and Farmington. Okra has become a very popular product now that's coming into the market. So it's where, you know, people are helping our farmers are helping the people, and it's quite rewarding, you know, every week, as much work as it all is. The market itself is owned and operated by the city. I work directly for the city manager. Having said that, there is no taxpayer dollars that goes to support the farmers market. The market itself, the pavilion that we now enjoy, was built with private funds. We raised over $600,000 to build it. The city did donate the land, so a lot of credit there. But from an ongoing operational standpoint, there are no tax dollars. The market is completely self-funded. That's my job, to go out every year and find sponsors, and then charge seasonal and daily fees for our vendors. And then also, as times allow, not so much last year, we'll have special events and fundraisers as well that allows the market to secure the monies it needs for, last year we spent a lot of money on, PPE, equipment and sanitizers and hand washing and that sort of thing. So, what do I do? And this is not to certainly pat myself on the back, but, when, people often say, well, it's wintertime. What beach are you at? What do you do all winter, right? This is actually my busiest time of year, because it's the market's been in cold storage now for a few months. So you have to bring it back. And again, there are no monies available to start with. So I do have to manage a budget, and so I'm a general manager in the sense that I have a budget, and the budget is administered through the city by myself. That budget goes up to the state. So I'm considered a department head, if you will, because of the monies that roll up to the state, and then any funds that are left over actually from the market season go into the city's general fund. They don't go back to the farmers market. But I manage a budget. I send out applications and rules. Those will be going out in the next week or so. I work with sponsors and sell sponsorships and excite stakeholders to want to participate in our mission. I do all the marketing and promotions. I do all the writing for it. I actually have a weekly column in the local paper called Fresh at the Farmers Market that I write every week from May through October. We have a website that requires a lot of work. There's a lot of scheduling for musicians and children's activities, cooking demonstrations, nonprofit organizations that want to share their mission at the market and how they're serving the community in their own way. We try to help them be successful. Managing all the volunteers at the market, and we have some 36 to manage. It's gotten so much now with volunteers. I actually have a volunteer coordinator who's also a volunteer. And then we have food assistance programs. We do WIC for women, infants, children, Senior Fresh for qualifying seniors. We partner with local food banks. Locally here, it's the Neighborhood House and CARES Farmington Hills. And then beyond that, it's a lot of administrative things, contracts and bills and vendor recruitment. And then working with city departments, public works, public safety. Every week we put together a little village here that opens. We start coming together about 5:30 on a Saturday morning, and we got to be ready to go by pretty much by 8 o'clock. So lots of helping hands to put together a market of some 50 or so vendors, and then tear it all down and put it back like it was never there. By the end of the afternoon. So quite a lot of work, but I enjoy it, and it's something that I still hope to be doing for quite a while yet. So I've mentioned sponsors a little bit. You can see that page is very, very full. with sponsors, key sponsors being, Beaumont, the Fresh Time Market, which is actually a store about 100 feet from our market that opened a couple of years ago, that chose to locate in the downtown, knowing that we had a community farmers market. And you would think, well, who would want to do that? But quite honestly, it's worked out to be a wonderful relationship. This particular chain called Fresh Time is new. It's growing. I believe they have some 60 or 70 stores, 15, 16 in Michigan, Farmington being the number 2 store in sales.
Wow.
next to Grand Rapids. And Grand Rapids is a huge town. Farmington is very small, only 10,000 people. But if you're looking for food, good food, between the outdoor market and the Fresh Time store, there's no, I can't think of a better destination place to shop for food. And then beyond that, we have a whole host of sponsors that are proud to get behind our efforts. And I'm right now in the middle of recruiting many of those same sponsors for this season. I'll just end by saying, when the pandemic hit, I didn't think we would have any sponsors, quite honestly. And I told the city that be prepared to lose a lot of money if you want to do the market. Then you're going to have to help me you're going to have to help fund it.
Right.
From the city's general fund. I felt bad. A lot of these businesses were struggling or laying off people or closing or not open at all. And how could I possibly ask them to send me a check? But they did. And I'm so grateful to them that they've done that. And it turned out to be such a successful year. I think many of them will be back. I won't go through all these goals and objectives, but again, being a professional engineer, bound by goals and objectives, my whole working life, we always had to have goals and objectives, and so we do that. We do that for the market, and some of them are ongoing. I inspect all the farms. I'm a one-man show to do that. Some markets contract it out and inspect the farms with so-called professional inspectors. I don't have the budget to do that. I do it on my own, but it takes quite a long time. And what one market might do in 1 year, it might take me 3 or 4 years to make all the rounds, if you will. But it's always exciting to put your boots on the ground in the farm and take a walk with the farmer and see what they're up to.
Just watch where you put those boots.
Yeah, exactly. We are Metro Detroit's #1 farmers market. We have been for the past 4 consecutive years. And that's something that we're very proud of. And we have little banners that we hang up in our pavilion, much like you see hanging at the hockey arena with championships. Our #1 status each year is something we're proud of, and we hope to meet.
And you should be.
Yes, thank you. Last year, we welcomed our 1 millionth customer, and we had hoped to do that much sooner in the year. With COVID, it came a little bit later, and I'll share some numbers with you there. So yeah, we take on our challenges. We do our best, to try to meet them. And every year we try to change it up a little bit to take us to a higher plateau. Last year, of course, our goals were interrupted by the coronavirus. And again, following a theme that we all heard, that we're all in this together. I found a quote here from Amelia Earhart that helped me as I set about trying to figure out how do I open a market in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. And the most difficult thing is the decision to decide to act, and then the rest of it is tenacity. And that really rang true for me. I had the COVID last year, and it hit at the worst time. It was right in the middle of March, right when I needed to be out. It's negotiating contracts with sponsors and scheduling vendors, and I didn't have it. I mean, who knew how do you open a market in the pandemic? What do you do? I had no clue. I didn't know where to go. And I started scheduling meetings from around the state with, health inspectors, the Department of Agriculture, in Lansing, talking to other market managers. And I was so sick. As I was trying to host these conference calls, I would literally be hosting the meetings with my head right on my desk. I was so wiped out by this thing, but I couldn't cancel meetings anymore. I finally had to learn what to do. So I just forged ahead. But people came through, and as you can see, this was a dump from the conference call hosts that I used. I held 16 meetings with an average of 73 people per meeting for over 473 minutes, trying to figure out what is our best foot forward, and what is everybody else doing, and how can we learn and share best practices. And this was all before the market opened, and this was strictly due to COVID. In
Right.
addition to all that other stuff that I shared with you just a couple minutes ago, and I'm doing this, by myself. But through networking and bringing in people who we were all in this together. We were able to establish through Lansing that we were essential, and the governor allowed us to open. So that was number one. And then, we totally changed our layout, changed our branding, recruited more volunteers, educated our vendors on what they needed to do to be safe, to distance themselves and customers from the product, distancing from vendor to vendor, customer to customer. A lot of emphasis on wayfinding and dedicated entrances and exits, curbside pickup, ordering pre-orders online, changing our hours, working with city departments and the Downtown Development Authority. I mean, so many people came together in a relatively short amount of time. And so as a result of all that upfront work, the market opened on time. We once again, as I mentioned, were awarded best market. 1 million people came through. We recognized that we were all the 1 million customer. It wasn't one individual, it was all of us, that made that happen. We enjoyed a record attendance last year. I'll show you a graph in a second. That totally amazes me how we're able to do that. And most importantly, and this is a credit to everybody in this community and who has respect for our farms, our farmers, and the market, that our mask rate was over 99.5%.
Well done.
Yes, people they were courteous of others, and that gives you a warm feeling. And as a result, we did not have one single instance of contact tracing for the spread of the virus. And consider that we welcomed close to 90,000 people, and we did not have one instance. Absolutely amazing. And the good Lord, 26 straight Saturdays of no
How'd you
rain.
manage that?
Yeah, I'll tell you. It was that early phone call that made it happen, right? But yeah, amazing. 26 straight weeks of no rain, and no matter what maybe going on out in the world, and every year is different. It's rain it's rain and wind that you fight the most, and if people don't come because it's a big downpour, it's really windy or cold, then you kind of have to, you miss a week, and then you got to get them to come back. And here we didn't have that. It was just, the weather was quite nice every week, and people, I talked to so many people that said first thing they thought of when they opened their eyes in the morning was, I got to get to the market. And so they formed their own habits that way.
Great.
Yeah. the things that we discovered, obviously, the teamwork, commitment between our patrons, volunteers, and vendors. We found a lot of people like to come out early. So we actually, this year, we're going to open our market earlier than we normally would. We'll open at 8 o'clock instead of 9.
Wow.
Lots of new faces that came into the community that our farmers and vendors had never seen before. I'd like to think a lot of those people are going to come back. And, as I like to say, 9 out of 10 people who come to Farmington are going to come back anyway. And half of those people are going to bring somebody with them. They're going to want to bring grandma or their sister or the kids or what have you. So it's that organic growth that really adds to the excitement and seeing new faces come every week. We found that no-touch shopping became, which I thought was going to be a real turnoff. People like to come in, they like to pick up the tomato.
Yeah.
I don't want that one. Here, put it back, right? Or they want to shuck their own corn. And we had so many discussions of how are we going to sell sweet corn? How are we going to do this? And again, everybody came together. The farmers sorted the corn ahead of time and did put a lot of effort in making sure that the corn that was on the table was the best. And when you think about it, the food that comes to the market is only, for our farmers grow for Farmington, period, right? They grow for our market. Our farmers do not wholesale. They don't sell to grocery stores. Their family and from their generations of family, they make their money at a local farmers market, period. So you can trust that the food that you're getting, you don't really have to, you can trust what the farmer is giving you is the very best that he's pulled out of the ground. And after a while, I think people got spoiled. They liked the fact that there was someone there to wait on them, sort of not hand and foot actually, but that you could actually just kind of walk up and down. I have one of those, I have 2 of those, I have 3 of these, please.
Yeah.
And then it became sort of a point of customer service. I think they enjoyed that. It was bagged up and handed to them. So when you go to the grocery store, you're pulling everything down yourself. When you go to the farmer's market, every single table has somebody behind it to serve you. Whether you're picking out honey or jams, jellies, breads, meats, seafood, there is someone at every single step of the way to help serve you. So yeah, moving on, a couple of quotes that were impactful is as we got together on opening day of the market. It was a strange day when we opened. We didn't have a lot of people. We were looking over our shoulders quite a bit. We were very small. We reduced our vendor count by like 80%, and everybody was spread out. And we weren't going to have any pomp and circumstance, but the last minute we decided, you know what? We are going to open to our tradition. We're going to have that drum line. It may not be 12 drummers, but we got one. And the picture you see here of Zach DeJarle, he's the percussion director. He also performs with the Detroit Lions on Sundays during the season. And he came out and performed with a quad setup, as you see, one solo drummer. We had someone to sing the national anthem. And he came up to me afterward and said that, just being here today made him feel better about himself. And I think that's something that rang true for nearly everyone that ended up coming through. Our own mayor, walking to the market, I could hear the music playing and everything felt normal again for a moment. And then other people came, there was certainly a mental health aspect to it, of being able to enjoy something with a sense of normalcy and seeing other people and knowing that you're walking away with a bag full of nutritious, good food. There's a wholeness, of it. So there's some pictures of, we're kind of laying out our land and setting our entry and exit points. The farmers market before, it didn't matter. You just come in wherever you wanted to. And now we have dedicated entrances and exits, and they're staffed. And then we have the circles, lines, and arrows that point people, safely to the farm stations. So there's a distancing is respected. We had a fair number of rules in place. Some of them were required by the state. Some of them were our own rules, like, not allowing dogs. In the beginning, you couldn't even bring your own market bag. In the beginning, it was only one person per family. Very strict, but over time, we loosened some of those rules as we saw people were following a safe protocol. So here you can see the distancing in motion. Here you can see a table in front of a table that provided for distancing, and people wearing gloves, wiping down areas, providing a soap and towels. We added sanitizer machines as the season went on. And then you can see here just the diversity, our local public safety officers, who came to the market every week. Again, it's an added element to feeling safe. This is a city council member with his family. Here you can see all our banners and volunteers, who come to the market, every week, and God bless them. Couldn't do it without the amount of volunteers that are present at the market. Our attendance, we did set, a tracking since 2012. That's pretty much how long I've been around. We set a record of 88,000 people. There's been some high points too, but at one point we used to operate 29 weeks. Last year we operated 26 weeks and brought in the highest amount of people we've ever had. This is the chart I like most. This blue line here, all jaggedy as it is our average weekly historical attendance. And then the green bars show the attendance that came to market last year. And you can see here on week one, only 550 people came. And we would normally expect over 2,500. Early in the season, it's a little bit less for attendance because it's more flowers. There's not as much produce. Then. And you can see in the early weeks, we were well below, but it started to climb. And then it changed. And this is where I like to tell city council that here in these early weeks, I think we had a lot of local people from the neighborhoods coming and supporting. But as we got into the season, the word started to get out about us, and we became a destination of a place to go. Excellent. And also for good food. And you could see how well above our attendance spiked week after week after week after week. And we actually hit a high point, our highest ever in one day. Over 5,300 people came to our farmers market in one day. And we had enjoyed over 10 straight weeks of over 4,000 people. For a farmer's market, that's pretty darn good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I have to tell you. So in 2021, we're, again, goals and objectives lead the way. We're going to continue the same protocol. I'll continue to inspect the farms. Hopefully we'll be able to bring some of our events back. We had no events last year, no children's activities whatsoever. We have a program that we're very fond of called POP, called The Power of Produce. It's a national program that we suspended last year. I'll talk about that in a moment. We hope to bring our institution and stakeholders together through the Agriculture Extension Office of Michigan State, our health screenings with our hospital, Michigan Master Gardeners, the libraries as well. They do a lot with what we call our Little Sprouts Corner, hosting crafts for the kids. Are we going to do some of these things? I don't know yet. Right now, we're told that all the protocol is on hold. Hopefully, as the vaccine becomes more available, we'll be able to come back to some of these things. And of course, we do want to be Metro Detroit's #1 farmers market again, and maybe you'll have a chance to vote for us as well.
Heck yeah!
If we could do one thing different from last year, even just one thing, I hope that we will be able to reinstate our POP program. It stands for the Power of Produce. It's a national program. We have received local grant funding. This is a check from the Farmington Hills Foundation for Youth and Families. And this particular program is geared to children age 4 to 12 years old. And it's geared to helping kids learn where food comes from and eating food in season and trying new things. So this program allows for children to scavenge the market. They have to take on challenges and successfully pass them to become a member of our pop club. And when they do, they get a market bag to personalize. They get a recipe, a family recipe from a volunteer, a registered nutritionist, dietitian. And we give them a $3 voucher in order to shop the market,
Cool.
accompanied by an adult. So it's a wonderful program, and our farmers really get a big kick out of it. In a way, you know, what we're doing here is we are growing our future shoppers for the farmers market as well. So we've had parents tell us that it's the kids that are pushing the parents, saying, "The mom, dad, are we going to the market today?" Right? So, and we try to keep the little ones entertained while the family shop. So this year, having presented all that I just presented to you to City Council, at the end of every one of these, info shares, I ask for their approval. They have to approve the calendar because the City Council has to know all the events that are going on and where resources might be used or public safety might be engaged. So this year, we have approval to open Saturday, May the 8th, Mother's Day weekend. It's our earliest opening ever. And we'll operate a 26-week season through October 30th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that was approved in December, just about a month ago now from where we stand. And with that, I will be getting out application rules next week. And those will in turn come back to me with all the dates that the vendors want to participate. And I have to kind of thread the needle to make sure that everyone can be accommodated. And it all starts now. And these type of presentations that I do every year, so I do these sometimes for local churches or other organizations like the American Legion or the Farmington Elks, the Optimists, the Exemplars, all well-founded community organizations. This helps energize myself to get back into the market frame of mind, if you will. I hope that this gave you a little bit of an insight as to
Excellent.
what a public market does, and I'd like to conclude just with just a short video here of what the market looks like in better days and better times, which hopefully we'll see a return to in 2021. So let's see here. So Phil, I've got this up here, and I need to share the screen. Let's do it.
You close your slideshow first.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that here. End of slideshow. So I have the video here, and it's new share. Let's do new share. Here we go. And share. Okay, can everybody see the?
Yep, it's ready to go.
All right, let me take the volume down here, and I'll stay silent here while you enjoy this very upbeat background music, and the words will speak for themselves, and the pictures, even more so. So this is very short; it's a couple minutes. So please enjoy, and I'll be back in a moment.
Sure.
This is our market bell that we ring every Saturday. We ring a bell to open the market. And that concludes my presentation, people.
Excellent. So if you just stop sharing, we'll go up back to the that one. Yep, that's great. Oh, you're muted, Barry.
Yep, you're muted.
Rang and I muted it. Yeah, excellent outreach program, Walt. You bring a lot of organizations together.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I noted the Master Gardener program there that I've had some major involvement with in years past.
Sure.
And nice to see that operating. Just remember that farmers are always outstanding in the field.
Yeah, oh, yes. Good one.
I'm going to have to skip out now, and
No
nice
problem.
meeting. And I assume you've got a website there, Walt, somewhere. I'll look
Yes,
you
there
up
is.
further on the website.
I'll
Yes,
pass that on to you.
Good question. FarmingtonFarmersMarket.com. That's
Yeah.
simple.
And would you mind one of you linking me in with Christina?
Sure.
Over in the White Club?
Sure.
Yeah,
We'll send you that information.
I like to connect with her. Yeah.
Lynn, can you do that?
I can do that, and I will do that soon.
All
That's
right.
Well, I got to run. I got like Christina. I have another Zoom coming up here.
Yeah,
very shortly.
9 o'clock. Yeah.
But I have to get my porridge eaten first.
Even that came from the field.
I was just wondering. Also, I was just wondering, Walt, have you got your fingernails clean?
I'm sorry?
Have you got your fingernails clean?
Yeah, it took a while to get them to this point, right? That'll change soon enough.
That's right.
Especially if I'm going to be building a hothouse here in the coming months.
Oh, really?
Too, yeah.
Good for you.
Helping our farmers, yeah. They need the volunteer help to do it. You can't have any wind when you do this. You're up at sometimes it's 3:00 in the morning to do this, and it's a barn raising. You pretty much got to get it done in a day because there's so much plastic to lay down. It's once you start, you don't stop.
And you did say hothouse, not outhouse, right?
Yes.
Well,
I hope there's an outhouse near the hothouse.
These hoop houses, they're new technology in less than 10 years ago, and they're around a lot.
I'd like one of those in the garden.
Yeah, you would benefit.
Yep.
Hot houses are really good for these hoop houses are really good for strawberries, aren't they?
Yes.
No, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multi-tiers, actually. Yeah.
Goodness.
This is true. And strawberries have a very short life, so.
Yeah. Got to be really fresh. Yeah.
Okay, guys, just note
Okay.
that this whole session has been recorded and will be out on our website probably later today or tomorrow for
Very
anybody
good.
else to view.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure to talk about my favorite subject, the Farmington Farmers
No
Market.
problem. We loved it. It was very
You're
good.
You're a good promoter, no doubt about it.
Thanks, Barry.
Well, one of the things that we do at the end of our meetings is recite or read or whatever the four-way test. And I'll just make the linking comment. The Farmington Farmers Market certainly represents a four-way test to the community and to the people that attend and participate in the farmers market. So This is the four-way test. You can read it for yourself.
I am reading it now. I'm proud to know that. Thank you.
And of course, we're always looking for anyone who would like to be a little closer to Rotary and participate in that four-way test. So if you know,
Bill's way ahead of you there, Lynn.
if you know of anyone that's interested in becoming a Rotarian and
We're working on that.
Yeah, I know
having
Bill
availability of
thinks
the
he knows somebody
opportunities,
that's
this is
interested.
a part of it.
Okay,
So with that, Phil, are we ready to officially close?
Yes, we are.
All right, and the last official function of a meeting is to ring the bell.
One more time and out. So thanks, Walt. Thanks very much for that. It really was good. Very good.
thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the invitation today. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
And thanks
Thanks,
for
Walt.
putting
See you
in
at the
the
market.
time.
Yep. See you at the market. There you go.
See you later.
Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.